We can talk about some playoff series now. I, of course, want to start with the disappointing Bulls and Wizards series. Luckily, I've been much more, basically completely emotionally invested in the Blackhawks playoff series and the NHL playoffs in general, but I have watched in full both of the Bulls playoff games, and they have made me sad. They've left me after both games saying, well, at least the Blackhawks play tomorrow. That's what I've said after both of them. And last night was no different. I'll let you guys start, but my thought, I tweeted it last night, so if you follow me, you saw it. It's just the Bulls' offense is atrocious to watch, and it's because they don't have Derrick Rose. I've said it all year as a Bulls fan. I've told Bulls fans who say they're going to upset the Heat, upset the Pacers, blah, blah, blah. They're not going to without Derrick Rose because at the end of the game, it's been years now. I've said it so many times, but at the end of the game, you need somebody to get you a bucket. You need a LeBron James, a Kevin Durant, a Michael Jordan, whoever, a Kobe Bryant, who's just going to go one-on-one, get to the bucket, score. That's what we saw LeBron do last year in the playoffs. We've seen Durant do it all season. Obviously, you can name them off. The Bulls don't have that player. When you have Kirk Heinrich and Taj Gibson taking the majority of your shots in the fourth quarter, you have no chance in playoff basketball, where the Wizards have Bradley Beal and John Wall, two great scorers. And it's been all year. And I harken back to like the 2011 series why the Heat essentially swept the Bulls was because with LeBron on Rose isn't going to score. LeBron completely shuts him down. We've seen that Rose's whole career. He can't score against LeBron. So with LeBron shutting down Rose when Rose is healthy, they don't have anybody who can score. That's why they played the Heat so tough, but they always ultimately came up short because the Heat have LeBron and at the time, Dwayne Wade, who could get your buckets whenever they want. The Bulls had nobody, and that's my initial observation from the games.
Man, I don't even know where to start, man. Joakim Noah, Defensive Player of the Year, who can't play defense. I mean, getting lit up by Nene. You talked about, Nene. He's good. Maybe he's gotten better with age. Of course, me being an NBA fan, and at one time, I used to be a Denver Nuggets fan, like my favorite team, when AI was there, and I used to like Melo. At one time, Melo was my second favorite player in the whole NBA. But, I mean, he changed. I didn't change. I'm still the same. So he changed, and he went away from, being one of my favorites. But so I like Nene, even back then. But the way he has played, I've never really seen him play this way, unless it's like 2K and I'm controlling him. Like, he's just going crazy, lighting Joakim up. And I just have fun with it. I have fun, like bothering Bulls fans.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we're from the Chicago area, and me not being a Bulls fan, actually, let me say this right. I don't like any Chicago teams, period, but the Bulls, I actually have a like for them a little bit. That's the only Chicago team that I actually have, a little bit of a care for. Even before Rose got there, I like them. But I like bothering Bulls fans. I don't know. Maybe, there are words that can't be said on the radio that describe me. But, I mean, hey, I kind of like being that way.
I understand because as a Bulls fan, I can step back and look, especially because I've been less emotionally involved with them this year. And also when they play the Heat, I'm split between them and LeBron. So I'm kind of taken back from the team. But that's what I say about Bulls fans is they think with their heart instead of their head a lot of the time.
Yeah, so every time Nene scores, I just tweet, Nene in all caps. When Bradley Beal scores, Brad Beal get buckets, just stuff like that. I just like bothering fans. First, I do like Brad Beal, though. I wanted him to have a nice series. The Bulls, like you said, I mean, basically, it's really nothing to say. Like, you watch the games, we all know the problem is they don't have any scores. Kirk Heinrich, you give him the ball in the fourth quarter, you might as well throw the game away. He's not going to score you any points. DJ Augustine was the leading scorer last night. He's not going to have 20-some points again the rest of the series. The Bulls, the series is over, just so we all know. I just want to make that clear. The Bulls are not coming back unless Michael Jordan just is reincarnated with Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman and Horace Grant, even though they weren't even on the team at the same time, and B.J. Armstrong. Everybody got to come back. Phil Jackson got to step down from the Knicks and come back to coach the Bulls again. Like, they're not coming back from this series because they're going to have to win at least one on the road in these next two. I think they'll win one on the road within the next two, but I don't think they'll win two overall in Washington. The scoring is struggling. And watching stuff like this, that's when, like yesterday, I'd be like, okay, that's why y'all want Carmelo.
Yeah.
That's why y'all want Carmelo, because you struggle to score. And like you say, even when Rose is healthy, LeBron takes him out the game. Yeah. So even if Rose is healthy and they were playing the Heat, it would be kind of the same thing. Carmelo makes LeBron work. So maybe y'all do want Melo, which is going to bring other problems, but the Bulls are done. And I'm just going to keep laughing at Bulls fans, as the series goes on. I'm going to keep on tweeting about Brad Beal. Shout out Brad, he listens to the show. He said that to me. He sent me a text after, his nice fourth quarter performance yesterday. And see, that's the thing. Let me say that. That's the last thing. The Bulls were up like 10 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And one thing that was said after game one was that the Bulls struggle from coming from behind because they're not a scoring team. But if they're winning, because of the way they play defense and their toughness, they might win the game. They were up 10. And John Wall didn't have a great game. He had like 4 fouls in the third quarter.
Yeah.
Nene wasn't going off like he was. And Brad Beal, to that point, wasn't really doing nothing. And all of a sudden, Bradley Beal drank him some Space Jam juice, and then just went off. So, I mean, the Bulls, you're done.
Well, I think to talk to that, the Bulls always prided themselves on being the hustle team, like Joe Noah's team.
Out-hustled,
and
man.
They were out-hustled. Every loose ball went to the Wizards. Like, the Bulls, I mean, they were diving on the floor, but they would dive on the floor and either be a jump ball from the Wizards who'd dive right there with them, or the Wizards would end up coming up with the ball, getting a timeout, something like that. So I think the Bulls have just been outworked and out-hustled. The Wizards have just wanted it more, I think. And that starts with Nene, honestly. That's what I've seen out of him. I think, like I said, he gets better with age. And I'm glad you brought up DJ, because I think DJ Augustine is the closest thing the Bulls have to a scorer who can get his own shot. That's what I always tell people. I'm watching the game with my girlfriend or my roommates, and that's what they always hear me say, is the Bulls have nobody that can create their own shot. And DJ's the closest thing they have to him. And then I remember listening, because I watched the Comcast Sportsnet Chicago version, so I got Neil and Stacy as the announcers. And I think Neil Funk was one who said they put Trevor Ariza on DJ Augustine midway through the fourth. He didn't have 1 point when they put Ariza on him. For the last 8 minutes of the fourth quarter and all of overtime, he didn't score a point when they put Ariza. So it's the LeBron on Derrick Rose type thing. I think DJ's the only one that can even somewhat get his own shot, and I guess Ariza is his kryptonite, and if DJ's not scoring, nobody's scoring. Maybe Boozer, but I don't like his little turnaround fadeaway behind the head, little Dirk Nowitzki-esque shot.
He don't even play in the fourth.
Yeah.
So I mean, the Bulls' best players, right? The Bulls' best players are their post players.
Yeah.
Noah and probably Taj Gibson. And if you're relying on them to get buckets, then it's really sad.
Yeah.
But see, I like making fun of Bulls fans because I see some of the dumbest tweets from Bulls fans during the game when they're losing. Put Jimmer Fredette in because he can shoot from anywhere on the court. I wish you would put Jimmer Fredette in a playoff game versus the Wizards when you're losing and you think he's going to get you a bucket. There's a reason that the Kings cut Jimmer Fredette. The Sacramento Kings. Like, people don't think, man. But like I said, I'm just going to have fun. Even though I picked the Bulls to get in the conference finals, we're going to pretend I never said that. I'm just going to have
You don't
fun.
get the Derrick Rose take back for that one. We're gonna have to hold you to that one.
We just going to pretend. We're going to get the Bradley Beal take back. Okay, that's what we're going to do. The Wizards, they might, I don't know if they'll get past Indiana, but this series is over as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I think you said it all, but I think Rose being injured is a blessing in disguise, and I hope no Chicago fans beat me up for this. Last year he was injured for the playoffs, but they played a little tougher. They beat Brooklyn, challenged Miami, okay, but this year shows you that they cannot score, and they got to the playoffs because the East is horrible, and this shows you that there needs to be a Plan B coming in the offseason by getting another scorer. And this shows you that people goes like, oh, do you really want to trade Taj Gibson? This shows you that you have to.
I think
you have to get rid of Taj and Boozer.
That could be a problem, though. At least I agree. They need a scorer. They need another big-name player. But paying Derrick Rose $25 million a year to sit on the bench might come back and bite them as a bad business move.
Well, I mean, they could always do what my mom, said.
Oh, God.
I mean, they could. My mom, first of all, can I set up the stage? I don't mean to cut into your time, but can I set up the stage real quick? Okay. When Joakim Noah won Defensive Player of the Year, I told my mom that he won, and she said, well, it doesn't seem like it because Nene was lighting him up. And so that made me proud because my mom doesn't watch really basketball, and I really tell her what's going on. So that just made me proud. I was like, okay. And then, Ryan saw that. I know he enjoyed that tweet.
It made me laugh when I saw that. I'm like,
So-
it sounds like Darius.
So then today, Ryan, he wanted to experience more from my mom. As her name on this show has become Mama Hawkins. So he went ahead and he was like, you know what, we should get her opinion for today's show. So I was like, you know what, that's a good idea. So I text my mom. I was like, your opinion has been requested. And she was like, LOL, who put that? And I told her, Ryan, that you said. She was like, okay. So first thing she asked, did the Bulls win? So this is how you know that she has no idea what's going on. She didn't even know what happened in the game. I was like, no, they lost. She was like, okay, well, this is what the Bulls should do. With all that money that they're paying Derrick Rose, and as you just mentioned, $25 million, they should take that money and buy him some new legs, and then maybe they'll be good at something. Shout out to my mom for stuff like that. See, that's the type of commentary I like. She should get a job at ESPN, replace Bill Simmons, and just let my mom talk on TV. I'm sorry for cutting in your time. I just feel like that's the perfect time to bring that.
That's all. That's all I really wanted to say. I really didn't get to see any of the two games. I heard some Bull fans that are tag-alongs with another team we'll talk about later that irritate me even more right now. But I'm just hearing them complain, and I'm going like, this shows you, and they still, like you said, they still think Taj and Fredette is still the answer, and I'm going, and then they think Augustine. I've never heard Augustine being I'm going to use Dick Vitale language, a primetime player.
It's a PTP.
Yeah, they're thinking he's going to do that, and this shows you that it's not, and the front office needs to realize that now. Will you have to get rid of a lot of players? Yeah, you probably will. But you need to if you want to put a winner back into Chicago.
I think the big thing that you guys have touched on a lot, and it's all true, but we kind of expected that last year Jimmy Butler wasn't going to do a lot, and he did. The series against Brooklyn was kind of his coming out party a little bit.
And Nate, too.
And Nate. But they let Nate walk, which was understandable. He's bounced around. But we kind of expected Jimmy Butler to mature, and going into the playoffs again, we thought he's going to take it to the next level now. He's going to be that go-to scorer we can give the ball to in the fourth to get us a bucket, and he hasn't. And I know it's only, his third year in the league or fourth?
I think it's
his fourth. Yeah, it's his fourth.
But I just want to see if he's going to be your long-term answer at the small forward position, then he's got to show something because there's a free agent out there, and he's very good, and we know he can score.
Yeah, absolutely.
We don't know about his defense. Jimmy plays much better defense than Carmelo, but it's kind of what you want more. Do you want that offense where you can get the ball in the hoop in the fourth, or do you want to stop people? And I think it's becoming evident that you need that score.
Jimmy Butler to me is, I'm going to start calling him Ron Artest. Because Jimmy Butler, for some reason, loves shooting threes that never go in. I don't understand. Like, eventually you should figure out there's a reason that you're wide open every time you get a three, like you get the ball in 3-point range. He just keeps pulling, and I laugh as soon as he releases it because I know they're not going in. And you can hear the crowd just being so disappointed. Jimmy Butler, stop shooting, man. Stop. Go in. Like, he's shown before that he can dunk on people. He dunked on Chris Bosh a few years back. Just go to the basket, man. Like, nobody on the Wizards is really a shot blocker.
Yeah.
Go to the basket. Not really all that hard. But he wants to shoot. Hey, man, if you don't want to win, that's on you. But
yeah. I think a problem we've seen with the Bulls, I say this is the Tom Thibodeau Bulls syndrome, is they play to the level of their competition. And that's why so many Bulls fans, obviously, they judge themselves against the Heat because that's been the team they've always wanted to beat. And they always play the Heat well because this is their rival, even though I don't understand how Miami and Chicago are rivals. I still don't get that. But okay. So that's their, quote, rival. And they always play the Heat well. They play them tough. They normally come up short, at least in the playoffs. But they've had I think they actually have the winning record in the regular season since LeBron has been there.
Yeah,
but they always play the Heat tough. They can beat them, and just fall short. They've been 5-game series, but they've always been tough, close games, and that's because the team is hyped up to play him. You got Noah talking his game. He really doesn't like the Heat, and so on and so forth. And this is the back-to-back defending champs and everything. So, we play the Heat tough. We can beat the Heat. We're right on their heels. We're the second or third best team in the conference, and then they don't get that hyped up. They only get that hyped up to play Indiana. It only seems like the Bulls come to play, to really come and play, give 110% effort when they're playing the Heat or the Pacers. Everybody else, it's like we said, they're losing. They don't lose those loose balls to the Heat. They don't lose those loose balls to the Pacers. But they couldn't get a loose ball last night when it was the Washington Wizards.
Exactly.
So I just think that's the Tom Thibodeau curse. Since 2011, they've played to the level of their competition. Even when Derrick Rose is there, they'll beat the Heat. They'll have this huge win against the Heat, like have a buzzer beater or go out and beat Miami or Indiana by 15, and then lose by 15 to the Bobcats the next game. And we're talking like 2012 Bobcats, 2011, before they made the playoffs. So I just think that's always been the curse of the Thibodeau teams, is they play to the level of their competition. They were better off playing Miami or Indiana, it seems like, than they are playing Washington. And it really shouldn't be like that, but that's how it has been since 2011.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And they I agree basically with what you said. Well, what both of y'all said, Ryan and Adam. They have to get a scorer in there, even if it's not Carmelo. You have to get a scorer because even with Rose, it's not really enough. Usually with championship teams, you have 2 scorers. That Rose is not enough, and the defense is nice and all, but when the playoffs start, all you gotta do is double team Rose.
Yep.
He has nobody to pass out to shoot the ball.
And he's always struggled on the pick and roll with Derrick Rose. He has turned the ball over so many times because they know he's deadly coming off the pick and roll, whether it's passing or taking it to the hoop. And that's how the Heat, another thing the Heat do well.
Yep.
Just watch Heat game tape against the Bulls in the playoffs and you'll be good. It's just they hedge Rose, double team him, and then turnover every time.
It's a struggle. And they've gotten rid of basically all the shooters they had when Rose was there. But by the time Derrick Rose comes back, he's not going to even remember probably who his teammates are, besides Joe King, because the team is so much different than it was 2 years ago. Lou Wall's not there. I mean, who else did they have 2 years ago? They had C.J. Watson and all them go.
Yeah.
Boozer probably won't be there next year.
They had, what's his name, that little John dude.
Oh, yeah, John Lucas.
Yeah.
None of them guys. And, I mean, just thinking about that Bulls team when they played the Heat, people really thought the Bulls had a chance. John Lucas was on the team.
Yeah.
Oh, man. The Bulls are funny, man. The Bulls are funny. I don't really know how they're going to fix this problem. Because I don't know if they're going to pay Melo.
Yeah.
The Bulls, historically, they don't like paying people. Jerry Reinsdorf does not like giving up money. And they're going to have to pay. And then they're going to have to give up Taj Gibson, like y'all said.
But they give Derrick Rose $25 million a year.
Which, I mean, I really don't want to, sound like I'm talking bad about Derrick Rose, but I mean, it's kind of hard not to when his team is doing stuff like this. And he's basically, the last 2 years, basically hasn't done anything. Since he got his contract, like you said, you get the contract, he's not doing anything. So, hey, Bulls fans, I mean, watch the Blackhawks or something. Go ahead. Just go ahead, watch the Blackhawks, have fun with that series. The Blackhawks got to win in Game 3. Just go ahead, just put all your effort into that because this series is over.